That was good.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome to day 4 of the 5-day watercolor, de-stress with watercolor playdates. I think that's what we're calling it. Not distress like I did on the first day. It's um I asked Lee a question like as we were getting ready to come on, and just as I did, it gave us the countdown. So that was the fun stuff. I was asking her what she saw in the camera. I still don't know. What do you see in the camera?
I just see our broadcast and my little square.
At the bottom. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. It's cool. That's perspective. Like you never really like Leah and I are on the same screen, but I have no idea what she's actually seeing. It's kind of like conversations with people and experiences. Like you're in the same experience, but you don't really know what the other person is actually seeing and experiencing. There is your bonus lesson for the day, folks. Straight from, I don't know, inspiration. Um, anyway, welcome to day 4. We're excited to do this. I actually am excited to do this today. This was created because we wanted to practice doing some things. And one of those things for me was really just embracing some perfectionism in places that wants to hang on, especially when it comes to creativity for me, and putting myself, like taking the insides of me and putting them out there in ways. I don't know the word. Being able to do it without an expectation of outcome, or caring what other people think. So this has been a really good practice for me to just learn how to breathe through this, to embrace the perfectionism and learn to love it and recognize it. It's just a part of me, and I can learn to work with it and actually create from it. So yesterday we worked on what did you call it? I want to say shades, but it's not shades.
Saturation.
Saturation. Thank you. I actually like that word, saturation. And we did hearts. We will actually make a post, and where I will display, we're going to do an art show of my artwork from this week. I'm practicing breathing for that one, but yesterday I had a lot of fun, and I actually sat back down and finished it after we finished the broadcast. So if you are new to this, we invite you to go back and watch the first 3 days and jump in with us. The sun has now reached over the trees. Isn't that amazing?
Right.
And go watch those replays. And then also you can join us for the replay. The replays are on the Righteous Rebel page on Facebook. But then join that page because there's a lot of other really great stuff going on there. You'll find a community of people who are also learning to think for themselves and to stand in their light and own their beingness. So, this is day 4 of me getting hold and just learning to be with the discomfort of some perfectionism, and I'm actually liking it. So Leah, thanks for the challenge to be the guinea pig in this, and knowing that it would be something that was good for me and that I wouldn't die.
Yes.
Although, sometimes when we get into that, the story that our heads tell us is that we're going to die. So, and the reality is we just might learn something new and find something that we enjoy. So I know I love the story of how Leah came into all of this. And that's something that, again, you can find out more on the Righteous Rebel page. You also can read about it in her book. What's it? I don't even know why that came about. Living with 30 classes.
That's a new intro then.
I know. Wow. You're welcome. So head on over. If you're joining us on YouTube or LinkedIn, head on over to the Righteous Rebels Facebook group and join that thing. And we would love to have you be a part of all of the fun stuff that we're doing, because we have lots of fun stuff going on, especially if you are a leader. Now, remember, a leader is anything from leading a family, leading a classroom, leading a community group, to leading a corporation. And we have amazing stuff coming. So, okay, enough of the shameless plugs. Leah, what are we doing today?
Today we are going to play around with some watercolors, and we're going to try something a little different. One is, all you need is a paintbrush. If you have a wider one, you can use a wider one. I'm going to challenge myself because I'm used to doing it with a wider one, but I know Jen doesn't have a wider flat brush. So I'm going to challenge myself in that. You need some salt. We're going to play with some textures, some watercolors, and watercolor paper. Again, oh, I had my smooth side up. You want your rough side up when you're doing your watercolor. So I'm going to switch here.
Hey, Leah, before we jump into it, I wanted to read the last paragraph of the Nepo stuff we read this morning. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's fitting. Speaking of brushes and not having wanting to use what you want to use because you know I don't have it. So we read often out of a book called The Book of Awakening. I discovered this book last year. It's great. I would highly recommend it. Mark Nepo is the author. This paragraph. So looking for another way. There's always another way to get things done, and which we're going to figure out today. How many thresholds that seem blocked or barred or locked only seem so from their initial viewing? How many opportunities for true living are barrier-free if we can only remove ourselves and our minds from their traditional points of entry? Boom. That is what I am working on with my perfectionism. All right.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and I'm going to add to that because I love the beginning of that that entry. We tend to make the thing in the way the way.
Right.
Like, I just love that line and just how it rings true to what blocks us and what we perceive as blocks to our journey, whatever it is we're working on. So I'm going to shift gears here and move my camera. Grab your stuff. There we go. Let's see how this works. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see, Jen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that light kind of cooperates. And okay. So it's kind of blurry. That's awesome. I'm going to let it adjust. If you haven't done it already, you want to activate your paints, and just all that means if you have a spray bottle, you wet your paints, or take your paintbrush, drop a few drops in, and just get your paints moving. So I'm just going to start with my lightest color that I envision is the yellow. I love yellow. It's so bright. I was thinking, actually, Jen, I hadn't talked to you about this before. Sorry, one thing first. All we're going to do is make a line across. You're going to go a line across the page. We're just going to do some.
You're using your flat brush?
I'm just using whatever. It's a smaller brush. It is a flatter brush, I guess. You can use a round brush. Just use whatever brush you have.
Okay.
And then just make a line across. You can make this line as thick or as thin. You can play with line thickness, and it's okay if the colors kind of mix in, because that's going to give you texture. It's going to give your painting, your sheet, just a whole different life to it.
I was just saying, what do you mean colors? There's only one color. I see what you've done.
You see what I'm doing? But I was thinking, I've taken some really fascinating courses and read books and all this stuff, and I love how colors evoke feelings, and what our favorite colors say about us. And I thought it'd be really neat to see what colors our community likes, and if that might be something that they're interested in learning more about, and just the color psychology. And yes, I think you were sharing with me a book about that too.
Say that again.
I think you were sharing a book about that with me too.
I was just thinking about the name of the woman who wrote it, and it's not coming to mind.
Ingrid or something, or
Ina. I think it's Ina or Ina Segal.
Yes, that's the one.
She actually has a book on color. She has a card deck.
Oh, okay.
Colors that are pretty fun. You can, if you're into cards, that's really kind of fun. It's got like 60 different cards with different shades of colors and the meanings of those, how they play out in your world. That's kind of fun.
Yeah. I thought that might be like we can do a watercolor study and just do one color and then just see, you know, what we can create with that one color and using like monochromatic and how you can make a whole piece. I think your sister had done that with
She
purple.
created an incredible picture.
Yeah. And it was just using one color. Now, I did this one on purpose because this ballooning, the blooms, the mixing of the
I was
colors,
just looking at that, I'm like, how did you do that?
that's what most
See, that's a piece where my mind, like my mind wants to have a freak out because it's like, wait, why is mine not doing that?
that it's not doing it?
Yeah.
Are you? Oh, I thought it would be that it is doing it.
No, it's not. But I think it's cool.
It could be a water thing. If you're putting enough water down, it could be the colors have dried before you put your next color in. See, a lot of times with watercolors,
Do it faster than.
It's one of those things that you can learn to control or work with the water. But a lot of people just don't like this ballooning because they don't want the colors. They want the color to stay where they wanted to put it. And so this is such an important exercise to see the beauty in those balloons and those moments and just
I'm getting no ballooning.
No ballooning, eh?
No, and I'm kind of freaking out because I'm not, because I like it.
Maybe try a bit more water. Put your color down right after. It could be, it's probably just a water thing. And if your colors aren't touching.
Oh, I'm making sure they touch.
Okay. This isn't a brick thing.
Not a brick thing.
There's no mortar in this one.
She's referring to our activity on Monday where we did bricks, and she let hers touch, and I didn't want mine to touch because I was too, I just was too. No, I'm getting beautiful lines though.
That's cool. Very cool. Just fun.
It's my brush.
Can I see your brush?
No.
Oh, okay. You're using that one.
I guess I could try the other one.
Another thing with watercolor, your paper will bulk, and I never even thought, will buckle, I should say, of how you usually want to tape it down so it doesn't buckle this way. And I just never even thought of that. What I still do, you know those signs that you get at the dollar store? They're like for sale. They're the red and white signs.
Yeah.
You've seen those? Yeah. If you get one of those, they're great they're storable. Two, they're what's that called? Waterproof? No. They're okay with water. They're plasticky. Yeah. And they're great for taking
that's a great word.
I don't know what's called. In spots where it's still wet, I forgot we were doing the salt thing. So in spots where it's still wet, or if you want to lay a little bit more water down, you want to put just a bit of some salt sprinkles on it. Did we say get some salt, or did I just tell you that?
No, we did.
Okay.
It was brief, but we did.
Okay.
Hello, salt.
So you just want to kind of sprinkle her on wherever your heart pleases. And then you can see what effect that gives your watercolor. Once it's dry, it's not going to do it, but you will notice a neat little effect. If you have a paper towel or something, if you want to play around with another texture, you can grab a tissue, a paper towel, napkin, whatever, and just kind of crumple it and just see what kind of textures that produces. And just kind of play around with how it can look. So yeah.
I think my paper may be absorbing my paint too fast. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Like even when I go over top of it's not ballooning.
It's not ballooning?
No.
Hmm. It could be a water thing. Or just maybe just don't have enough pigment on. It could be any one of those things. So your salt will take its effect once it starts to dry a little bit more. It'll absorb the color and the water around it, and it'll give it this like neat effect. I'm not sure how to describe it. It's just kind of neat. And you can play with that when you're doing your paintings, or when you're playing with it.
Cool. All right, we're at 16:15. We probably should wrap this one up.
Probably. I was going to say I didn't get a countdown today, Jen.
I know. I did that intentionally today, not to wig you or anyone else out. Just going with the flow. But we are at 16:30, so we probably should finish it. Plus, pickleball. I mean,
yeah, that's gotta happen.
So, what would be your parting thoughts on this one today?
Lines. Have fun with lines. Just they can be straight, they can be crooked, they can be fat, they can be thin, they can be textured, they can be smooth, they can be whatever you want, and just enjoy making some lines. Salty. They can be salty too. Yeah. Allow your lines to have the space to be salty and play outside the lines. So that would be my part.
Did you just say play outside the lines?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like,
like you have the lines and then the colors balloon into one another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for those of us who were, taught to stay in them, that's a big concept. And I actually appreciate the permission to just go outside. So if you've joined us again for day 4, thanks for being with us. We know that there's a lot of other places that you could be. That sunshine is so amazing. And we just want to say thanks for sharing the last 18 minutes with us. Day 5 coming tomorrow. We're not sure when that's going to take place because
it won't be till evening.
Till evening. Okay, so Friday evening you will get day 5. Until then, go back and watch the others if you haven't done so already, and enjoy some time with splotches and paint and lines and hearts and all of the things. And then let us know, like, how are you enjoying this, and what would you like to learn more of? Like, what can we bring to you next? I will gladly be the online guinea pig, but we would also love to see your work. We're going to make a post again where we're going to display in art show fashion my new designs in watercolor, but we would also like to highlight yours as well. So I'm going to encourage you to practice being bold and being brave and being a rebel and put those things on there. We love you. In case you forget or no one tells you today, we love you. We appreciate you. And we got you. So, Leah, let's take it out. Be bold.
Be brave.
Be a rebel.
Be a rebel.
We'll see you tomorrow.